Alright, so today I wanted to do something different. I've been streaming for quite some time now, and I wanted to compile a list of characters that people I see regret not having, slash a list of characters I think add a lot of value to whatever banner they're on, because they just have a very specific, really good use, or is like a very like rare character, right? And I think this is a pretty interesting one because so many players they come in and they ask, "Can I do this activity if I don't have this character, or what can I replace with this?" And it's just kind of sad, but it is how the game is. This is how gacha games are, right? And so I want to actually start with an honorable mention, a character that has only one specific use, but it's the only character that can do their job. Like, legitimately, there's no other character that can replace. Zaneri is the only character that can do a cleanse turn 1 on Belmoth. And that is, like, such a specific thing, but she is legitimately the only person that can do it because she's the only green character in the game with a level 1 cleanse. And, like... That's a green card, right? Because on Belmoth, he seals your buff cards and you need to cleanse, but on Hell you can only use green characters. And she's the only person that can do it. When freaking Shuna came out and her relic allowed you to cleanse, people were like, oh, now we can cleanse on Belmoth with Shuna. But then they made it so her relic can cleanse on Deathmatch. It was so sad. And she's an honorable mention because, really, it's a very specific thing. But it's so weird that she's the only character that can do it. My number 8 is Lilia. She is just a very strong PvP character. There's nothing else in the game where she's particularly really good at other than PvP, but she only comes in on terrible banners. I swear she's only been on low value banners. Of course, Lilia's big thing is her Holy Relic. Like, without the Holy Relic, this character is pretty mediocre, really. But with the Holy Relic giving her 50% basic stats, she just hits so absurdly hard. It's comical how hard she hits, right? And she's a character that doesn't really need dupes because her ultimate is terrible. So if you just pull one, she's just really good as it is. So it's just like, you just need to pull her once, but she's in so many just horrible banners that it makes it so tough to really just be like, yes, I'm gonna pull for her. Number 7 is Festival King. He is the king, no pun intended, of cheese. If there's an activity in the game that you want to cheese, well, his passive that grants you damage immunity with his shield likely can, especially for a ton of the tower stages that have like very specific gimmicks. Oh, there's a gimmick for this stage on tower? No, there's none, because I'm going to use King, and he's going to block all the damage. It doesn't matter. Farming, he's the fastest farmer in the game. For any PvE activity that you want to use AoE, he has 2 AoEs that hit very hard, so he's just really powerful. And he's a really good PvP character still. He's been cocked by the meta a little bit as of recent, but still very good. And not having him can be kind of annoying. Summer Merlin is the exact same thing as Lilia. I just think Summer Merlin right now is a character that's going to be lasting a longer time in PvP than Lilia. Because she doesn't rely on her damage, but more how annoying her passive is. When Summer Merlin came out, she was not meta. Because the thing is that the whole reason why Summer Merlin is good is because of her debuffing when she attacks. But when she came out, Margaret was meta. And Margaret had cleanse. And she doesn't seal buff cards, so it was like, oh, just cleanse, right? Cleanse is not meta anymore in PvP. Kind of. But not as much as it used to be, where literally everyone was running Margaret and everyone just cleansed. So Merlin, not only, she was not very good when she came out, she only comes back in terrible banners. Just like Lilia, basically. So it's a combination of, not really that great, probably good skipping the banner because she's not really that good right now, plus only comes back in terrible banners, and it just really is a recipe for a lot of people just not being able to have her. Jormungandr is the opposite of Merlin, where day one, I was like, yep. When I saw her info, I was like, yep, this character is needed. Everyone should summon. And she's only come back in good banners, I think. She came back on the anniversary banner. And that's it. She came back on the anniversary banner. And, you know, she came back on a really good banner. But if you don't have her, Deer is not even worth doing. Like, legitimately, look at how long her passive is, and it's only for Deer. The Deer Demonic Beast battle, right? She is only made for that one activity. And if you don't have her, doing the activity is not even worth it because of how much harder the activity is without her. It's just insane, right? And of course, she brings much joy. And now, although I do believe Deer is much harder than Bird, I am putting Megellda above Jormungandr for the simple reason that Bird relics are just simply better. There are way more Bird relics than are Deer relics. So not having Megellda, I think, ends up being more annoying than not having Jormungandr, because Megellda feels more needed because she is the Jormungandr of Bird, basically. Megellda by herself doesn't make Bird a joke like Jormungandr makes Deer, but she, again, is used for the activity that has the most relics, so I feel like it's more annoying not having her. And, you know, it's the character. Every single time I'm farming Bird on stream, half of my chatters are, who can I replace Megellda with? Probably the most skipped festival in history. She came out right after Traitor Meliodas. Probably the least skipped festival in history. And she was genuinely bad at release. A festival that when we looked at, we thought, why is she a festival? She is just simply mid in every possible way. She can't tank. By the time she can do damage, she's probably dead. Her ultimate needs to be 6/6 to even do damage. Just a mid festival all around. Probably the worst festival at launch ever. And now she's on my list, so what happened? What could have possibly happened? Number 2 happened. Tarmiel. Red Tarmiel happened. And he completely changed everything. He completely changed the game. This piece of shit. With this, the very same second I translated his goddamn grace with my Google Translate app, right? This paragraph of a grace, I knew he was gonna be a problem, and I knew he was gonna boost the end. And the moment I was like, PvP is not gonna be good anymore. PvP is not gonna be good if you consider good. PvP is not gonna be the same after this character's release, and I was correct. The moment I read, if you attack someone twice, you get disabled, and every single time you attack someone, they heal 30% of damage taken. I was like, there's no way they test units. They must know that this is inconceivably terrible to the overall balance of the game. And yeah, it was. And it's funny because DN went from being a mid, like genuinely the worst festival release, I think. Maybe Kusak, but one of the worst festivals at release, to now being what, number 2 festival in PvP? Maybe number 1 festival in PvP, really, if you just put Tarmiel link on her. And so many people skipped her because she was terrible. She was mid. And now she's arguably number 1 PvP character in the game because, oh, you put the end with Tarmiel link and now she's invincible. Oh, you have damage reduction. Oh, you attacked my DN multiple times. Well, guess what? Now my DN can do a shit ton of damage to you because although, right, she heals the damage back, all the damage she took in the first place still counts for her passive. So it's just like, oh man, what a shit show of a release, man. This DN, yeah, and Tarmiel is my number 2 because Tarmiel is like legit. If you don't have Tarmiel, you can't play PvP. And he has not come back. Ever since he released, he has not come back in a single banner. And he's going to be added to SSR tickets, so that he's going to be, at the single second he's added to SSR tickets, he's cut off this list. But he's not yet, and we don't know when it's gonna happen. But he feels like a complete must for PvP. If you don't have Red Tarmiel, you're just not playing PvP anymore. You are a bot. You are an AI if you don't have Red Tarmiel in PvP. It's insane how powerful his grace is. And you know, that doesn't really help with the balance, right? Because if you have Tarmiel with multiple dupes, then you can use him as Link, and he gives, you know, full stats. I don't have him with multiple dupes because I know he's going to be an SSR ticket character, so I didn't really chase dupes. Do I regret that? No, but damn, this completely unbalanced, honestly a terrible release of a character. I hate that this character exists. I actually really like his design. Like, he looks handsome as hell. But God, what a nuisance has he been for me as a person who plays PvP a lot for videos. Has it been every single day. But now, for number 1 on my list, and I think everyone out there will agree. There will be no one in the comments of this video disagreeing with me. The number 1 most useful character in the game with the best utility for every single activity there is, and one that you regret not having, is Green Escanor. So many votes for this guy. Green Escanor is number 1. For the 3% of viewers out there that don't understand that I was joking, I'm sorry. Number 1 is obviously Traitor Meliodas. He's the most valuable character in the game, I feel like, still. His passive is the size of a mountain, and every single thing in there is completely busted, and he carries you through a lot in the game. He's number 1 for me in terms of utility and need. I feel like you need this guy. These days in the game, you need this guy. If you don't have this guy, it's worse than not having Red Tarmiel. I feel like he carries you on bird. He's really, really good for deer, even though deer was strategically made to counter him. And for the new activity, I don't think I've seen anyone beat the new activity without him yet. The new boss that just came out this week, I don't think I've seen a single person beat the boss without him. His passive is just absurd. The thing is so long. When I saw this part of this passive, I almost couldn't believe that they would allow you to have 40% damage reduction that doesn't go away. It just doesn't go away. It's just infinite. It's gray as well, so they cannot be removed. And that part of this passive alone is what carries him through these like harder activities, because your team is just becomes so much tankier. And of course, he's carrying himself by hitting so damn hard, right? So yeah, Traitor Meliodas is number 1. But although I do have him number 1, I think that above Traitor Meliodas is any collab character. So like Rimuru, right now basically only Rimuru, but Emilia, right? Characters like these are gonna always have the most value because you don't even know if they're gonna ever come back, right? Likely, you know, I think the developers do know that these collab characters are very powerful, so they want to bring them back very often. But, you know, Slime took, what, almost 3 years? It was like 2.5 years to come back. So, obviously, they cannot even be measured in terms of, you know, regret of not having. But there's not much you can do about it. Like, Traitor Meliodas is going to come back, Red Tarmiel is going to come back, Diane's going to come back. Every single one of these characters on my list are going to come back. Collab characters is not really a thing you know, because you don't know. It's a legal thing, right, that they have to deal with. So that's why they want to add them to my list. But obviously, they would be above all of them, because you don't know, like it's like Terry, like he's so powerful still. Kyo is still so powerful, even though we just got a character that counters him. But Kyo is so powerful, Emilia is so powerful still, and you know, who doesn't like cute waifus? So yeah, that's my list. Let me know what you think of the list.